Good day, Sir Winmark Kabilan, and Merry Christmas to you, sir, and to your family. Today, I am discussing about the Rule 110 to 121 and 126. So, Rule 110, Institution of Criminal Actions. With preliminary investigations, file the complaint with the proper officer, and without preliminary investigations, file directly with municipal trial courts or the prosecutor's office. So, filing interrupts the prescription period of the offense unless specified otherwise by law. So, complaint, it is a sworn statement by an offended party, peace officer, or public officer, and information, it is a written accusation by the prosecutor who filed in court, and who must prosecute the criminal actions. So, the prosecutor oversees criminal actions in their absence at lower courts. The offended party or law enforcement can prosecute until the prosecutor intervenes. And sufficiency of complaint or information must include the accused name, offense designation, acts or omission consisting the offense, the offended party's name, and the offense name, time, and the offense's time, place. And name of accused or offended party, it is a fictitious name, are allowed if the real name is unknown, but must be updated when disclosed. A complaint or information must charge only on one offense unless specified otherwise by law. Amendments and substitutions allow, allow before plea allow before plea without court approval, and after plea requires court approval and must not prejudice the accused's rights. So, place where action is to be instituted, and special provisions for offenses are committed during travel or outside the Philippines. The intervention of the offended party. Uh, the offended party may participate in the prosecution of if civil liability recovery is part of the criminal case. So in Rule 111, prosecution of civil action. Prosecution of civil action, institutions of criminal and civil actions. When a criminal action is filed, the civil action for damages is also deemed filed unless the offended party waives, reserves, or files it separately. And the civil action may seek damages with specific filing fees. No counterclaims or third-party complaints can be filed in the criminal case, but they may be handled separately in a civil case. So when separate civil action is suspended, so separate civil action suspended until a final judgment in the criminal case is rendered, and if the civil action was filed first, it is suspended until the criminal action's final judgment. Consolidation of both actions can occur during the criminal trial, and any evidence presented in the civil case will be automatically considered in a criminal case. So when civil action may proceed independently. In specific cases, defamation or damage from tort, and independent civil action can proceed alongside the criminal action based on a lower standard of proof. Effect of death on civil actions. If the accused dies after arraignment, the civil liability is extinguished, but independent civil actions can continue against the accused state. If the accused dies before arraignment, the case is dismissed, but civil claims can still be filed against the state. So judgment in civil action not a bar. A civil action that absolves the defendant from liability does not prevent a criminal action from proceeding for the same act, and suspicion by reason of prejudicial questions. So a criminal action may be suspended if there is a prejudicial question in a related civil case. So the issue in the civil case must be similar to criminal case and determine whether the criminal case can proceed. So next is the preliminary investigation, and it determines whether there is enough evidence to believe that a crime has been committed, and if the accused is likely guilty, it is required before filing a complaint for crimes with penalties of at least 4 years and 2 months and 1 day, excluding fines. So officer authorized to conduct preliminary investigations first is provincial or city prosecutors and their assistants and judges of the municipal trial court and municipal circuit trial courts and national regional state prosecutors and other other authorized officers. So, procedure of the preliminary investigation shall be conducted in the following manner. So, the complaint must include the respondent's address, affidavits, and supporting documents. So, if the complaint is accepted, the respondent is issued a subpoena and has 10 days to submit a counter affidavit and evidence. A hearing may be held for clarification of facts, with parties submitting questions but no direct cross-examination. And the investigating officer must decide within 10 days if there is a probable cause to proceed with the case. And if probable cause is found, the the prosecutor prepares the resolution and files the information in court. And if the prosecutor dismisses the complaint, that the case may be reviewed by higher authorities, a prosecutor or the ombudsman must approve the resolution. So regional trial court, so the court evaluates the resolution and events within 10 days and may issue an arrest warrant if probable cause is found. So municipal courts, so the judges can issue warrants if findings support probable cause or after evaluating sworn testimony. So no warrant if the accused is already detained or if the offense may only carries a fine or no warrant is needed. If an individual is arrested without a warrant for an offense requiring a preliminary investigation, they may request a preliminary investigation afterward. So a waiver must be signed regarding detention rules. And records supporting the complaint or information and include affidavits and evidence but are not part of the court case unless ordered by the court. So, prosecutors filing for crimes punishable by less than 4 years, 2 months, and 1 day. So, then the prosecutor acts based on affidavits and documents within 10 days. So, in municipal court, for similar offenses filed in court, the judge evaluates evidence and may dismiss the case or issue a warrant of arrest based on the findings. So, this process ensures that there is sufficient evidence to proceed with criminal trials while safeguarding the rights of the accused. So, in Rule 113, arrest arrest, it means that taking a person into custody to answer for an offense, and arrest is done by physically restraining the person or when they willingly submit. No unnecessary force should be used, and the officer must promptly deliver the arrested person to the nearest police jail. So, Rule 113, Arrest. Arrest means taking a person into custody to answer for an offense, and arrest is done by physically restraining the person or when they willingly submit. No unnecessary force should be used, and the officer must promptly deliver the arrested person to the nearest police station or jail, and the warrant must be executed within 10 days, and if not, the officer must report the reason to the showing judge. So, arrest without warrant are lawful in cases of an offense committed in the presence of the officer, an immediate pursuit after an offense with probable cause, and escapes from custody or confinement. So the arrest can be made in any time, day or night. The officer must inform the person of the warrant and the reason for the arrest. Unless the person resists or flees, the private persons must state their intention and cause by the arrest, except when the person is actively committing or fleeing from crime. Officers can request help from others to make an arrest, and summoned persons must assist if possible. Also, the officers can forcibly enter a building to arrest someone if access is denied. After announcing their purpose, and the officers can forcibly exit a building if necessary for their safety. So, the arrested person have the right to private visits from their attorney or relatives at any time, subject to reasonable rules. So, in Rule 114, bail, bail is a security provided to ensure the release of a person in custody, guaranteeing their appearance in court. It may be in the form of a corporate surety, property bond, and cash deposit or recognizance. So, conditions of bills: bail stays valid until the case unless cancelled. The accused must appear in court when they required. So, missing court without a valid reason may lead to trial without the accused. Ombudsman must hand over the accused if found guilty, and release is allowed only by court order or bail, and the bail is a right in most cases, except for serious crime like those punishable by death or life imprisonment where evidence of guilt is strong. So when bail is discretionary. So after conviction for non-serious crimes, bail depends on the court's decision. Bail can be denied if the accused is likely to flee or commit another crime. So no bail is allowed for capital offenses or crimes with life imprisonment if evidence is strong. Prosecutors must prove the accused is strongly guilty during a bail hearing. So, how is bail amount decided? So, the judges set bail based on factors like the accused financial status, crime details, and risk of not appearing in court. And bail cannot be excessively high. And bail, the court informs the prosecutor about bail request. Bail can be raised or lowered if needed, and bail is forfeit, forfeited if the accused fails to appear in court, and bail ends automatically after acquittal or dismissal or judgment. So, courts check detention conditions to ensure proper treatment and fair for detainees. Rule 115 is the right of the accused, the presumption of innocence. The accused is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. and the accused must be informed of the charges and reasons for the accusation. The accused has the right to be present and defend themselves with a lawyer at every stage of the trial. So, absent without valid reason may waive this right. Escaping custody is considered a waiver until recaptured, and self-representation is allowed if the court finds it appropriate. So the accused can testify on their own behalf and be cross-examined. For remaining silent cannot be used against them, and the accused cannot be forced to testify against themselves. The accused can confront and cross-examine witnesses. Prior testimony may be used if a witness is unavailable because of under certain condition, and the accused can require witnesses or evidence in their favor to be presented, and the accused has the right for a trial that is speedy, impartial, and open to the public, and the accused can appeal decisions as allowed by the law. So, arraignment. Arraignment conducted in open court where charges are read in language known to the accused, and the accused must represent and personally enter a plea recorded for validity. And a plea of not guilty is entered if the accused refuses to plead or makes a conditional plea. And the arraignment occurs within 30 days of court jurisdiction, excluding delays due to motions or other valid reasons. For detained accused, arraignment and pre-trial must occur promptly within a specific timeliness, and plea of guilty to lesser offenses allowed with consent from the offended party and prosecutor, either or after arraignment, without amending charges. Plea of guilty to capital offense. So court ensures voluntariness and understanding of the plea, and requires evidence to confirm guilt, and plea of guilty to non-capital offense. So the court discretionarily receives evidence to determine penalties, and withdrawing of a guilty plea is an improvident guilty plea can be withdrawn before the judgment becomes final. So, right to counsel. So the court informs the accused of the right to a lawyer, and appoints competent counsel if none is chosen. So the accused can request specific details about the charges to prepare for trial. So in evidence of inspection, the court may order the prosecution to provide access to evidence to prevent unfair surprises. And the suspension of the arraignment uh, granted if the accused has mental incapacity, prejudicial question exists, or a petition for review is pending with a 60-day limit. In Rule 117, motion to quash. Time to move a quash. The accused can file a motion to quash before entering a plea. And form and contents. The motion must be written, signed, and specify factual and grounds for motion to quash. It includes a lack of jurisdiction, insufficiency of um, facts to constitute an offense, double jeopardy, distinguished liability, or procedural defects. So, amendment of complaint or information. Its defects can be corrected, and the court allows amendments. If not corrected, the motion is granted, and the court may order a new complaint unless the motion the motion is based on grounds like extinguished liability or double jeopardy. And uh, double jeopardy protection without con, con, without a conviction, acquittal, or dismissal of a case without the accused consent bars another prosecution for the same offense with limited exceptions. And a case can be provisionally dismissed with the accused consent and notice to the offended party, and the dismissal becomes permanent after 1 or 2 years, depending on the penalty, if not revived. And failure to move to quash to allege any ground. Therefore, the failure to file or include grounds in a motion to quash before pleading waives certain objections. And next is Rule 118, pre-trial. And pre-trials are mandatory in criminal cases, required for all criminal cases within 30 days after arraignment. And the pretrial addresses plea bargaining, stipulation of facts, marking of evidence, waiver of evidence objections, and trial modifications if a lawful defense is raised, and other measures for a fair and speedy trial. And pretrial agreements or admissions must be in writing and signed by the accused and their counsel and approved by the court to be valid. And the absence of the accused counsel or prosecutor without valid reason may lead to court sanctions. And after the conference, the court issues a binding order summarizing actions, stipulated facts, and marked evidence, guiding the trial unless modified to prevent injustice. So, Rule 119 trial. So, by the way, the purpose of Rule 119 is to protect the accused from unnecessary delays, so ensure unfair and efficient trials, and balances the right of the accused and the need for justice. So trial in section 1, time to prepare for trial. After the accused pleads, they have 15 days to prepare for trial, and the trial must start within 30 days from pre-trial order and should finish within within 180 days, unless extended by the Supreme Court. So the trial should continue delay or as often as possible until completed. So delays are allowed for valid reason but must not cause unnecessary postponements. Certain delays like pretrial proceedings, absent witnesses, or the accused illness and are not counted in the trial timeline. So if the trial doesn't start on time, the accused can ask for the case to be dismissed, and not doing so means waiving this right. And prosecution present evidence first, then the defense. Both sides may offer rebuttals before the case is decided. Witnesses who are unavailable due to illness, distance, or other valid reasons can be conditionally examined before trial. So, co-accused are usually tried together unless there is a good reason for separate trials. So, lawyers or prosecutors causing unnecessary delays may face fines or bans from handling cases. So, next in the Rule 120 judgment. Judgment determines whether the accused is guilty or not and imposes the corresponding penalty and civil liability. It must be written personally prepared by the judge and include the factual and legal basis. Uh, Convictions specifies the offense, aggravating, mitigating circumstances, the accused role, penalty, and civil liability unless waived or served for separate actions. So the acquittal states whether the prosecution's evidence failed entirely or failed to meet the standard of proof, and it also determines It also determines if civil liability exists, and judgment for two or more offenses. If multiple offenses are charged and unobjected to before trial, the court may convict and impose penalties for all proven offenses with separate findings for each. And judgment in case variance between allegation and proof, when the proven offense differs but is included or it includes the charged offense, the accused is convicted of the offense that matches the proof. So when an offense includes or is included in the another, defines when an offense includes or is included is another based on shared and essential elements. And promulgation of judgment are read in the presence of the accused, except for light offenses where a counsel or a representative may attend. If absent, the judgment may be recorded and served, with provisions for bail and appeal depending on the circumstances. So conviction judgments may be modified or set aside before becoming final. And finally, of course, after the appeal period lapse and the sentence is served, or the accused waives appeal rights. So, and final judgment are entered per Rule 36. Existing provisions governing suspension of a sentence provision and parole not affected by this rule. So the rule does not alter existing provisions on the sentence, suspensions provision, or parole. So next in Rule 121, new trial or reconsideration. Court may grant a new trial or reconsideration at any time before a conviction judgment becomes final, either on the accused motion or the court's initiative with the accused consent. So grounds for a new trial and errors of law or trial irregularities are prejudicial to the accused of rights. Discovery of new material evidence unavailable during the trial, which could likely after the judgment. So grounds for reconsiderations: error of law or fact in the judgment requiring no further proceedings. And forms of motions, notice to the prosecutor must be written stating specific grounds. If based on new evidence, must include affidavits or authenticated documents. And notice of the motion must be served to the prosecutor. So in hearing on motion, the court may hear evidence using affidavits or other methods when resolving factual issues in the motions. So new trial for errors of law affected proceedings and evidence are redone, with additional evidence allowed if necessary. In new trial for new evidence, existing evidence remains newly discovered evidence, and admissible evidence are considered together. And in all cases, the original judgment is vacated and a new judgment is issued. So the last rule is Rule 126, search and seizure. So a search warrant, it is a written court order commanding a peace officer to search for specific personal property and present it to the court, and the court where application for search warrant shall be filed. So filed in the court within the jurisdiction of the crime, and in certain cases it may be filed in any court within the judicial region of the crime or enforcement location. And if a criminal case is already filed, the application must go to that court. And personal property to be seized, and property subject to or property subject to or fruits of the offense and stolen property in instruments or means used in committing the offense. And requisite for issuing search warrant, probable cause must be determined by a judge based on examination under oath, and the warrant must describe the place to be searched and items to be seized. Examination of complainant, record judge personally examine complainant and witnesses under oath, and attaching sworn statement to the record. And the warrant must be in the prescribed form and issued upon satisfaction of probable cause. And issuance and form of search warrant. Officers may forcibly enter if access is refused. Search must occur in the presence of the occupant, family, or two local witnesses. Service is typically during the day unless otherwise is specified, and valid 14 days from issuance. And the officers provide a receipt for seized items and delivers them with an inventory to the issuing judge, and the judge verifies compliance with inventory and property of delivery rules. Right to break door or window to effect search. So officer provides a receipt for seized items and delivers them with an inventory to the issuing judge, and the judge verifies compliance with inventory and property delivery rules. So search of house, room, or premise to be made in presence of two witnesses. Searches must be conducted in the presence of the lawful occupant or a family member if unavailable. Two witnesses of legal age and discretion from the locality must be present. So, time of making an arrest. Searches are usually conducted during daytime unless justified for execution at any time or day or night as stated in the affidavit. So, a search warrant is valid for 10 days from its issuance and becomes void afterward. And officers must issue a detailed receipt for seized property to the lawful occupant or leave it in the premises with witnesses if the occupant is absent. Delivery of property and inventory thereof to court, return and proceeding thereon. The seized property and its inventory must be delivered to the issuing judge, and the judge must ensure compliance within 10 days, and any failure to comply can lead to contempt of court. So, search incident to lawful arrest. So, a person lawfully arrested can be searched for weapons or evidence related to the offense without a search warrant. And motion to quash, it is a search warrant or to suppress evidence for the file. Motions to invalidate a search warrant or suppress evidence must be filed in the court where the case is being tried. If no case has been filed, it should be filed in the court that issued the warrant. If unresolved and the case is later filed, the new court will resolve it.